The text came at 11:30 on a Tuesday night, glowing blue in the darkness of our bedroom. I was already awake, had been for an hour, listening to Dani breathe beside me with that particular rhythm that told me she wasn't really asleep either, just pretending, waiting. Working overnight with Joe on the Riverside account. Don't wait up. D. I stared at those words until they burned into my retinas. Joe, her boss, the self-made car dealership king of Summit County, Ohio, with his spray tan and his Italian loafers and his habit of touching Dani's lower back during office meetings like he owned her. Maybe he did. I typed back, "Thanks for letting me know." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again, then nothing. My name is David Chen. No, scratch that. My name is David Miller. 44 years old, logistics manager at Brennan Wholesale Distribution, former high school quarterback back when that meant something in towns like Millbrook. Now it means I can still throw a decent punch at the boxing gym, and my knees only hurt when it rains. Dani, Danielle Miller, née Hartman, is 41, sleek and sharp as broken glass, pulling down 6 figures at Hartman & Associates PR. Yes, her father's firm. No, she never lets anyone forget it. I lay there in the dark, feeling the weight of 17 years of marriage pressing down on my chest like a heavy bag I couldn't quite lift anymore. The house was silent, except for the furnace kicking on, that old familiar rattle that I'd been meaning to fix for 3 winters now. Everything in our lives had that same quality lately. Things I'd been meaning to fix. Things slowly breaking down while we both pretended not to notice. But I'd noticed plenty. The lingerie I didn't buy her, tucked in the back of her drawer. The new perfume. The way she angled her phone away from me when she texted. The client dinners that lasted until midnight. The receipts from the Lakeside Inn that I'd found crumpled in her coat pocket, dated for afternoons when she was supposedly at the office. I'm not an idiot. People think that about guys like me, blue collar, stayed in our hometown, married our high school sweetheart. They think we're simple, uncomplicated, easy to fool. They're about to find out how wrong they are. I slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Dani from her fake sleep. Down the hall, past Kayla's room where our 17-year-old daughter was probably still awake, scrolling through TikTok and pretending her parents' marriage wasn't circling the drain. Down to the garage where I kept my heavy bag and my weights and my sanity. I wrapped my hands slowly, methodically, the ritual calming me. Then I started hitting the bag. Left jab, right cross, left hook. Again. Again. The rhythm of it. The solid thunk of leather on leather. The way my shoulders burned and my knuckles ached. This was real. This was honest. This was the opposite of everything my marriage had become. At 1:15, I heard Dani's car start in the driveway. I watched through the garage window as her Lexus backed out, headlights sweeping across the neighbor's house. Mrs. Patterson's curtains twitched. Good. Let her watch. Let her see. I gave it 20 minutes, then went back inside. Kayla's light was still on. I knocked softly. Yeah? Her voice was guarded, careful. Just checking in. You okay? Dad, it's almost 2 a.m. I know, just making sure you're okay. Silence. Then, are you and Mom getting divorced? The question hung in the air like smoke. I could lie. I could deflect. I could do what Dani would do. Manage the message, control the narrative, spin the story. I don't know yet, Kay, but whatever happens, it's not your fault. You know that, right? Yeah. She didn't sound convinced. Dad? Where's Mom? Working? At 2 a.m? That's what she says. Another silence. Then Kayla said very quietly, I'm sorry. Me too, kiddo. Get some sleep. I went to our bedroom and opened Dani's closet. It was organized with the precision of a surgical theater. Blouses arranged by color, dresses by season, shoes in clear plastic boxes with Polaroid labels. Everything in its place, everything controlled. I started pulling things off hangers. By 3:30, I had packed every piece of clothing my wife owned into cardboard boxes. Every dress, every blouse, every pair of designer jeans, the shoes, the handbags, the scarves, the jewelry box from her dresser. I left only what she was wearing and her bathrobe. I loaded the boxes into my truck, a beat-up Ford F-150 that Dani always complained about, said it made us look poor in front of her friends. 15 boxes total. I stacked them carefully in the bed, secured them with bungee cords. Then I drove to Joe's dealership. Riverside BMW sat on the corner of Main and 5th, all glass and chrome and that particular kind of aggressive success that guys like Joe wear like cologne. The showroom lights were on. They always were. Joe's little flex, keeping the lights burning all night so people driving past would see his inventory gleaming like treasure. I backed my truck up to the main entrance and started unloading boxes. I stacked them right in front of the glass doors, 15 boxes high, blocking the entrance completely. Then I took out my phone and filmed it. Every box, every label, the dealership sign in the background, the timestamp, 3:47 a.m. I scheduled the video to post to Facebook at 8 a.m., tagged Dani, Joe, and Hartman and Associates PR. Then I drove home. At 4:12, my phone rang. Dani. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Hello? David, what the hell did you do? I could hear traffic in the background. She was in her car. Probably just left Joe's place, or the dealership, or wherever they'd been screwing all night. What do you mean? My clothes. Why are my clothes at Joe's office? Oh, those. Well, you've been spending so much time there, I figured you might as well keep your wardrobe on site. You know, for convenience. You're insane. Do you have any idea what this looks like? Yeah, Dani, I do. That's kind of the point. I'm calling my lawyer. Great. I'm sure they'll love hearing about the receipts from the Lakeside Inn, and the texts, and the lingerie I didn't buy. You want to play this game? We'll play. But I'm better at it than you think. She was crying now. Real tears, probably, though with Dani it was always hard to tell. David, please. This is my career, my reputation. Should have thought of that before you started screwing your boss. We're not. Save it. I'll see you when you get home. If you come home. I hung up. My hands were shaking. My heart was hammering. I felt sick and exhilarated and terrified all at once. I also felt more alive than I had in years. At 4:30, another call. Unknown number. I answered. David, it's Sierra. Dani's best friend. The influencer, the one with 40,000 Instagram followers and a lifestyle blog about authentic living, despite the fact that she'd never done an authentic thing in her life. Little early for you, isn't it, Sierra? I just got off the phone with Dani. She's devastated. What were you thinking? I was thinking my wife's been cheating on me. Look, you don't understand. Joe and Dani have a very complicated professional relationship. Is that what we're calling it now? You're being cruel, David. This isn't like you. Maybe you don't know me as well as you think. I'm trying to help. Then tell Dani to come home and tell me the truth, all of it. Otherwise, this is just the beginning. I hung up again, looked at my phone. The Facebook post was scheduled. In 3.5 hours, everyone we knew would see those boxes, would see where I'd left them, would start asking questions. Checkmate, round 1. The post went live at 8 a.m. sharp. By 8:15, my phone was blowing up. By 8:30, the video had 200 shares. By 9, Mrs. Patterson from next door was knocking on my door with a casserole and questions. David, honey, I saw the most disturbing thing on Facebook this morning. I took the casserole. Thanks, Mrs. Patterson. I appreciate it. Is everything all right with you and Danielle? Just working through some things. I always thought you two were so solid. But you know, I did notice her car leaving at odd hours lately, and I told Harold, I said, Harold, something's not right there. And he said I was being nosy. But a woman knows, David. A woman knows. You're very observant, Mrs. Patterson. Well, if you need anything at all. And I hope you don't mind, but I shared that video with my book club, just so they know what you're going through. We're all very supportive. Perfect. Mrs. Patterson's book club was basically the town's central gossip distribution network. By noon, everyone in Millbrook would know. Dani came home at 9:30. She looked like she'd been crying for hours, makeup smeared, eyes red, still wearing yesterday's clothes. She'd probably been at Joe's all night scrambling to figure out damage control. "We need to talk," she said. "Now you want to talk. David, please, can we be adults about this?" "Adults? You want to talk about being adults? Adults don't lie or cheat." Don't lie to me anymore. I'm done with the lies." She sat at the table, face in her hands. "What do you want from me?" "The truth. When did it start?" 6 months ago, after the Christmas party." 6 months of lies. Half a year of her pretending everything was fine while she was with Joe Brennan. "Are you in love with him?" She looked up, fear in her eyes. "I don't know." "Does he love you?" "He says he does." "He's married, Dani. He has 3 kids." "I know. So what's the plan? He leaves his wife? You leave me?" "I don't know, I just felt trapped. Like my life was already decided." "So you cheated." "Don't reduce it to that. What's the difference? You destroyed our marriage because you were bored." "You don't understand." "Then help me understand. You threw away 17 years for some midlife crisis affair with a sleazy salesman." She flinched. "Joe's not like that. Joe is like that. And you're not special. You're just convenient." She cried again. Real tears this time, but I felt nothing. "I want you out," I said. "Pack your things and leave." "This is my house too." "Then I'll leave. I can't look at you right now." "What about Kayla?" "What about her? She asked if we were getting divorced. You've traumatized our daughter." "That's not fair. None of this is fair." My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Saw your video. Joe's wife is asking questions. Thought you should know. A friend." I showed Dani the text. Her face went pale. "Oh, God, Carol doesn't know. Joe said he'd tell her, but he lied. That's what cheaters do." "David, please. If Carol finds out, Joe could lose everything. And that's my problem. How? Please don't do this. I'm begging you." "You had 6 months to think about consequences. I've had 6 hours. I'm not protecting Joe or you." She stood up, grabbed her purse. "You're going to regret this. The only regret I have is not seeing who you really were sooner." She left. I heard her drive away. Then I sat at the table, staring at the casserole, planning my next move. At noon, I drove to Hartman and Associates PR. The office was in a fancy downtown building. I grabbed the last box of her things and walked in. The receptionist smiled. "Can I help you?" "I'm here to see Joe Brennan and my wife, Danielle Miller." Her smile faltered. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but I think they'll want to see me." I walked past her through the glass doors. People stopped talking when they saw me. Dani was at her desk, phone to her ear, eyes wide. Joe's office had glass walls. I could see him on his phone, probably dealing with his wife. I knocked once, then opened the door. "Joe, got one more box for you." He turned red. "You need to leave, now." "Just making sure Dani has everything she needs. Her shoes are in there. The Louboutins you probably paid for. I'm calling security." "Great. I'm sure they'll love hearing about how you're sleeping with your employee. Pretty sure that's against company policy, isn't it?" Dani appeared in the doorway. "David, stop." "Stop? I'm just being helpful. Making sure you have everything you need for your complicated professional relationship." People were gathering, pretending to work but clearly listening. I saw Sierra filming. Good. "You want to humiliate me?" Dani hissed. "Fine. You win. Happy now?" "Not even close." Joe stood up, tried to look intimidating. Hard to do when you're 5'9" and soft around the middle. "You need to leave, or I'll have you arrested for trespassing." "Trespassing? I'm just delivering my wife's property. But hey, since I'm here, maybe we should talk about that gambling problem you have. The one you've been hiding from the dealership board. I bet they'd be interested in knowing where all that money's been going." His face went white. "How do you—" "I'm not as dumb as you think, Joe. None of this is as secret as you think." I turned to leave, then stopped, looked at Dani. "By the way, I canceled the credit cards, and I moved half the money from our joint account into my own. My lawyer says that's perfectly legal since it's marital property. Just thought you should know." I walked out through the silent office, past the staring faces, past Sierra with her phone, got in my truck and drove away. My phone started buzzing immediately. Texts, calls, Facebook notifications. The video Sierra had taken was already online. I was trending in Millbrook. At the boxing gym that afternoon, my coach Tommy took one look at me and said, "Heard you're having a rough week." You could say that. Want to talk about it? Rather hit something. Fair enough. I spent 2 hours beating the heavy bag until my knuckles bled and my shoulders screamed. Tommy wrapped my hands afterward, his old fighter's hands steady and sure. "You know what you're doing?" he asked. "Not really." "Good. Guys who think they know what they're doing usually screw it up. You're following your gut. That's smart." "Doesn't feel smart. Feels crazy." "Sometimes there's not much difference." He finished rapping, patted my shoulder. "Just remember, revenge is like fighting. It's not about how hard you hit. It's about hitting the right targets at the right time." "What if I don't know what the right targets are?" "You will. They'll show themselves." That night, Kayla came downstairs while I was making dinner. Frozen pizza, because I couldn't manage anything more complicated. "Dad, can we talk?" "Sure, kiddo. What's up?" "I saw the videos. Everyone's talking about it at school." My stomach dropped. "Kay, I'm sorry. I didn't think—" "It's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but I get it. Mom really messed up, didn't she?" "Yeah, she did." "Are you going to divorce her?" "Probably." She nodded, processing. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Why are you doing it this way? Like, publicly? Couldn't you just, I don't know, handle it privately?" Good question. The kind of question that made me realize my daughter was smarter than I gave her credit for. Honestly, because I'm angry. Because she humiliated me, and part of me wants her to know how that feels. But also, I paused, trying to find the right words. Also because I think she needs to face consequences. Real consequences, not just me being sad at home while she goes on with her life like nothing happened. So it's revenge. Yeah, I guess it is. Is that wrong? I don't know anymore. Maybe, probably. But it's what I'm doing anyway. She thought about that. For what it's worth, I think Joe's a creep. And Mom's been different lately, like she forgot she had a family. That's not your fault. I know, but it still sucks. Yeah, it really does. We ate pizza in silence, and I thought about Tommy's words, about hitting the right targets at the right time, about following my gut. My gut said I wasn't done yet, not even close. The anonymous texts started the next morning. "You're making a mistake. Leave Joe alone. You don't know what you're doing." I ignored them, blocked the numbers. But they kept coming from new numbers. Always the same message. Back off. Someone was worried. Good. I'd spent the previous evening doing research. Joe Brennan wasn't just a car dealer, he was a gambler. High-stakes poker games at a private club in Akron. He'd lost big 6 months ago, right around when the affair with Dani started. $40,000 in one night. I knew this because I'd called in a favor from an old high school buddy who worked security at the club. People think small-town guys don't have connections. They're wrong. I also knew that Joe had taken out a second mortgage on the dealership to cover his debts, and that Carol Brennan, his wife, didn't know about any of it. Knowledge is power. and I was collecting power like a miser hoarding gold. On Thursday, I followed Dani and Joe to the Lakeside Inn, the same place where I'd found the receipts. It was a boutique hotel about 30 miles outside Millbrook, the kind of place that charged $200 a night for rooms that smelled like lavender and regret. I watched them check in at 6 p.m., all business casual and professional distance until they thought no one was looking. Then Joe's hand on her lower back again, that proprietary touch that made my jaw clench. I waited an hour. Then I went to work. Joe's BMW was parked in the back lot, probably because he didn't want anyone seeing it from the road. Smart, but not smart enough. I'd brought supplies, a bag of sugar, a bottle of paint stripper, and a valve stem tool. I didn't slash his tires. That would be vandalism, easy to prosecute. Instead, I let the air out slowly, used the valve stem tool to make it look like a leak. Then I poured sugar in the gas tank. Not enough to destroy the engine, just enough to make it run rough, cost him a few thousand in repairs. The paint stripper went on the hood in a pattern, a big heart with D+J inside it. Subtle. By morning, it would eat through the clear coat and leave a permanent mark. Then I took photos, lots of photos. The car, the hotel, the window where I could see shadows moving behind curtains. I didn't confront them. Not yet. I just collected evidence and went home. Friday morning, Joe called me. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. "You son of a bastard," he said without preamble. "You vandalized my car." "Did I? That's a serious accusation, Joe. You have proof?" "I know it was you." "Funny. I was home all night. My daughter can confirm that. So can my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. She's very observant about who comes and goes." "I'll sue you." "For what? You can't prove anything. But hey, while I have you on the phone, how's Carol doing? She know about your little getaway with my wife yet?" Silence. Then, "What do you want?" "Want? I don't want anything from you, Joe. I just want you to understand something. You took something from me. My marriage, my trust, my dignity, and I'm going to make sure you pay for that. Not with money, with the same thing you took from me." "You're crazy." "Maybe. Or maybe I'm just done being the nice guy who gets walked on. You tell me which is scarier." I hung up. My hands were shaking again, but this time it felt good. Felt right. That afternoon, I got a call from Sierra. Again. "David, we need to talk. In person." "Why?" "Because you're spiraling and someone needs to stop you before you do something you'll really regret." "I'm not spiraling, I'm just getting started. Please, just meet me for coffee, 1 hour, that's all I'm asking." Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at the Starbucks on Main Street, neutral territory, public enough that she couldn't make a scene. Sierra looked perfect, as always, Instagram ready in her athleisure wear and carefully tousled hair. She ordered some complicated latte and sat across from me with an expression of calculated concern. "You look terrible," she said. "Thanks. You look like you're about to sell me essential oils." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'm worried about you." "Don't be. Dani's my best friend. I love her, but what she did to you was wrong, and I told her that." "How noble of you." "I'm being serious. You have every right to be angry. But this public campaign you're waging, it's not healthy. It's not helping anyone." "It's helping me." "Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, you're destroying your reputation, traumatizing your daughter, and making yourself look unhinged." "Funny, because from where I'm sitting, I'm holding people accountable for their actions, something nobody in this town seems interested in doing." "That's not fair." "Fair? You want to talk about fair? Where were you 6 months ago when Dani started this affair? You knew, didn't you?" She looked away. "Bingo." "You knew," I said. "You knew and didn't tell me. Don't pretend to care about me. You care about your friend's reputation and probably your own." "I didn't tell you because it wasn't my place." "It was absolutely your place. We've been friends for 20 years, but you chose Dani. Don't act surprised I don't trust you now. I stood up. Sierra grabbed my wrist. David, wait. There's something you should know. What? Joe's not the first. What? Dani had someone else 3 years ago, a client. It lasted 2 months before she ended it. I sat down, stunned. You're lying. I wish I was. I'm telling you because you deserve the truth, before you do something irreversible. Who? Does it matter? Who, Sierra? His name was Marcus Webb. He was hired for the Henderson campaign. It was brief, and she swore it wouldn't happen again. I remembered him. Slick guy, expensive suits, always talking business. He'd come to our house once. Why tell me now? Because this is a pattern. Maybe you're not the villain here. Maybe you're the only one calling it what it is. She left. I sat there, processing. 2 affairs, maybe more. My marriage was a lie. That night I decided to go on offense. I called my lawyer, started documenting everything. Receipts, texts, evidence. I built a case for divorce court. I also planned something bigger, something that would make the wardrobe drop look like nothing. I was going to expose everyone, not just Dani and Joe, but anyone who knew and stayed silent. The restaurant was Dani's favorite, Giuliano's. I made reservations for 6, me, Dani, Joe, Sierra, Kayla, and Carol Brennan. Carol didn't know yet. I sent the invitation to Dani as an olive branch. She'd agreed, though suspicious. Joe had been harder to convince, but Dani talked him into it. Sierra agreed too quickly. That's when I knew. Sierra always knew everything. How she knew about Marcus Webb, how she called after the wardrobe incident instead of Dani. Something wasn't right. I dug deeper. Found out Sierra had briefly dated Joe Brennan 10 years ago before he married Carol. He dumped her publicly at a gala. She didn't forget that. Sierra also introduced Dani to Marcus Webb, encouraged their professional relationship, and covered for Dani when I asked about her late nights. Sierra wasn't Dani's best friend. She was the one pulling the strings, and I was about to cut every one of them. Saturday night, I arrived early at Giuliano's. The manager, Tony, was a friend and agreed to help set up. You sure about this? He asked. Completely. It's going to be messy. That's the point. Kayla arrived first, nervous, trying to be mature. Dad, what's going on? Just trust me. You all need to see this. Dani and Joe arrived together, maintaining that fake professionalism. Sierra came last, phone out, probably ready to document everything for her followers. Where's Carol? Joe asked. She'll be here, I said. I made sure she got a very detailed invitation. His face went pale. You didn't. I absolutely did. She'll be here any minute. David, what are you doing? Dani's voice was tight with panic. What I should have done from the start, telling the truth. The door opened. Carol Brennan walked in, tired, in clothes like she came from soccer practice. She stopped when she saw the setup. Joe, what's going on? I got a strange message about a dinner. She saw Dani, me, the whole situation. What is this? Carol, I'm David Miller. I don't think we've officially met. I'm married to Danielle. Or I was. It's complicated. I don't understand. Your husband's been sleeping with my wife for 6 months. I thought you should know. The room exploded. Joe was on his feet, shouting. Dani was crying. Carol looked like she'd been slapped. Kayla was staring at me with wide eyes. Only Sierra stayed calm, phone still out, recording everything. You're insane, Joe yelled. Carol, don't listen to him. Is it true? Carol's voice was quiet, menacing. Joe, is it true? No, he's making it up. I pulled out my phone, connected it to the TV I'd had Tony set up in the corner, started playing the slideshow I'd prepared. Photos of Joe and Dani at the Lakeside Inn, screenshots of texts, receipts, the works. Stop it, Dani screamed. Stop it right now. Why? You wanted to have this affair in secret, but I'm making it public. Isn't that what you do, Dani? Manage the message? Control the narrative? Well, here's the narrative. You're a cheater. Joe's a cheater. And everyone who knew and said nothing is complicit. I turned to Sierra. Especially you. She lowered her phone. Me? Yeah, you. You've been playing both sides this whole time, encouraging Dani's affairs, feeding me information, stirring up drama, and I finally figured out why. David, I don't know what you're talking about. Joe dumped you 10 years ago, at the Riverside Charity Gala, in front of everyone, and you never forgave him, so you decided to destroy his marriage by helping my wife cheat with him. 2 birds, 1 stone. You get revenge on Joe, and you get to play the supportive friend to Dani while watching her self-destruct. Sierra's face was a mask. That's ridiculous. Is it? Because I talked to Marcus Webb. Remember him? The consultant from 3 years ago? He told me some interesting things, like how you set up that first business dinner with him and Dani, how you encouraged them to work late together, how you covered for Dani when I started asking questions. You're paranoid. And then there's this. I pulled out a folder, handed it to Carol. Bank records showing payments from Sierra's accounts to Marcus Webb. Consulting fees, supposedly. Except Marcus never did any work for Sierra. She was paying him to seduce my wife. That was a lie. The bank records were real, but the payments were for actual consulting work. But Sierra didn't know that, and her reaction told me everything. You investigated me? Her voice was shaking now, mask cracking. I investigated everyone, because I'm done being the idiot who trusts people, done being the nice guy. You all made me the villain, so I'm going to be the best damn villain you've ever seen. Kayla spoke up, her voice small. Dad, I don't understand. Why would Sierra do that? Because some people get off on chaos, kiddo. They like watching other people suffer, makes them feel powerful. Sierra stood up, grabbed her purse. I don't have to listen to this. No, you don't. But everyone else will, because I'm posting all of this online tonight. Every photo, every text, every dirty secret. And I'm tagging all of you. Let's see how your 40,000 followers feel about the real you, Sierra. She left without another word. The door slammed behind her. Carol was crying now, looking at the photos on the TV. How long, Joe? How long has this been going on? Carol, I can explain. How long? 6 months. But it's over now. I swear it's over. It's been over, I said, since the moment I found out. But you two kept lying, kept sneaking around. Even after I dumped Dani's clothes at your office, you couldn't stop. Carol stood up, walked over to Joe, and slapped him, hard. The sound echoed in the small room. We're done, she said. You're done. I'm calling my lawyer tomorrow, and I'm taking everything. The house, the kids, the dealership, all of it. You can't take the dealership. Watch me. I'm half owner, remember? And once the board finds out about this, about your gambling, about the second mortgage you took out without telling me, yeah, I know about that too. David sent me the documents. They'll vote you out so fast your head will spin. She turned to Dani. And you. I hope he was worth it. I hope destroying 2 families was worth it. Carol left. Joe stumbled after her, still trying to explain, to justify, to spin. It was just me, Dani, and Kayla now. Are you happy? Dani asked. Her makeup was ruined, her perfect facade completely shattered. Is this what you wanted? I wanted you to face consequences. Real consequences, not just me being sad while you went on with your life. You've destroyed everything. No, Dani. You destroyed everything. I just made sure everyone knew about it. She left. Didn't even look at Kayla. Just grabbed her purse and walked out. Kayla and I sat in silence for a long moment. Dad, was that stuff about Sierra true? The bank records? Some of it. The bank records are real, but I might have exaggerated what they meant. So you lied. Yeah, I did. Does that make you as bad as them? Maybe. Probably. I don't know anymore, Kay. I just know I'm tired of being the only one who suffers. She reached across the table, took my hand. I'm sorry this is happening. Me too, kiddo. Me too. We left Giuliano's together. Tony gave me a thumbs up as we walked out. The slideshow was still playing on the TV, photos cycling through, evidence of betrayal on display. I'd hit my targets, every single one, and it felt empty, hollow, like winning a fight but losing something important in the process. But I wasn't done yet. There was one more thing I needed to do. The Millbrook Street Festival happened every year in late September. 3 days of craft vendors, food trucks, and small-town pride. The highlight was always Sunday afternoon, when local businesses gave speeches from the main stage, talking about community and values and all the things that made Millbrook special. This year, Dani was scheduled to speak. Hartman and Associates was sponsoring the festival, and as the senior VP, she was supposed to give a speech about building tomorrow's community today, or some other meaningless PR slogan. I had other plans. Sunday morning, I called in every favor I had. Tony from Giuliano's knew the festival organizer. My boxing coach Tommy knew the sound guy. Mrs. Patterson knew everyone on the planning committee. By noon, I had what I needed: access to the stage, the sound system, and a 20-minute speaking slot right before Dani's speech. I'd spent the previous week preparing. Not just evidence, I had plenty of that, but a presentation, a story, a narrative that would make sense of everything that had happened. At 2 p.m., I climbed onto the stage. The square was packed, maybe 500 people, the biggest crowd the festival had seen in years. Word had gotten out that something was going to happen. Small towns love drama. I saw Dani in the crowd, standing with her father. Saw Joe lurking near the back, probably hoping no one would recognize him. Saw Sierra off to the side, phone out, ready to document my downfall. Saw Kayla near the front, looking worried. The microphone squealed as I tapped it. "Hi, everyone. I'm David Miller. Most of you know me. I've lived in Millbrook my whole life. Went to high school here, married my high school sweetheart, raised my daughter here. This town is everything to me." Polite applause, confused faces. They were expecting the usual festival speech. "I'm not here to talk about community values," I continued. "I'm here to talk about truth, about consequences, about what happens when the people we trust betray us, and everyone around us pretends not to notice." The crowd shifted. This was getting interesting. 6 weeks ago, I found out my wife was having an affair with her boss, Joe Brennan. Some of you saw the video I posted, the one where I delivered her wardrobe to his office. That was real. The affair was real. And for 6 months, while I was working and taking care of our daughter and trying to be a good husband, my wife was sleeping with another man. Gasps, whispers, phones coming out. Dani's face was bright red. But here's the thing. It wasn't just them. It was everyone who knew and said nothing. Her best friend Sierra, who encouraged the affair. Her co-workers who covered for her. Her father, who's standing right there, who knew for months and told me I was being paranoid when I asked if something was wrong. I pointed at Dani's father. He looked like he wanted to disappear. This town loves to talk about values, about family, about community. But when it came down to it, all of you chose sides, and most of you chose wrong. You chose to protect the people with money and status and connections. You chose to make me the villain for refusing to suffer quietly. The crowd was silent now, rapt. So I'm here to tell you the truth, all of it. And I'm going to show you exactly what your community leaders have been doing while preaching about values. I pulled out a remote, clicked it. Behind me, the big screen they'd set up for presentations flickered to life. The slideshow began. Photos of Dani and Joe, texts, receipts, bank records showing Joe's gambling debts, screenshots of Sierra's messages to Dani encouraging her to follow her heart and not worry about David. The crowd was murmuring now. Some people were leaving. Others were recording everything. Joe tried to rush the stage. Security stopped him. He was shouting something, but I couldn't hear it over the noise. "This is what your community looks like," I said. This is what happens when we care more about appearances than truth, when we protect the powerful and blame the victims. Dani was crying now. Her father was trying to pull her away, but she wasn't moving, just standing there, watching her life implode on a giant screen in the middle of town. I'm not asking for sympathy, I continued. I'm not even asking for justice. I'm just asking you to remember this the next time someone tells you to keep quiet, the next time someone says it's not your business, the next time you have to choose between what's easy and what's right. I paused, looked directly at Dani. I loved you. For 17 years I loved you with everything I had, and you threw it away for… what? Excitement? Validation? A midlife crisis? She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. I want you to know something, I said. This isn't about revenge anymore. This is about making sure you understand what you did, what you took from me, from Kayla, from yourself. I pulled out an envelope. This is a DNA test, for Kayla, because after I found out about Marcus Webb, after I realized there had been multiple affairs, I started wondering, started questioning everything. Dani's face went white. David, no. Don't worry, she's mine. The test came back positive. But the fact that I had to take it, that I had to question whether my own daughter was mine, that's on you. That doubt, that poison, you put that in my head. I threw the envelope into the crowd. It landed at Dani's feet. So here's what's going to happen. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. I'm asking for full custody of Kayla. I'm going to make sure everyone in this town knows exactly who you are and what you did. Not because I'm cruel, but because you need to face consequences. Real consequences. I turned to leave, then stopped. One more thing. Oh, and Joe? Your wife filed for divorce Friday. She's taking the dealership. The board voted you out this morning. They had an emergency meeting after I sent them the evidence of your gambling and the affair. You're done. Joe lunged for the stage again. This time he made it up the stairs before security tackled him. He was screaming, face purple with rage. I walked off the stage. The crowd parted for me. Some people were clapping, others were booing. Most were just stunned. Kayla met me at the bottom of the stairs. Dad, are you okay? Yeah, kiddo, I'm okay. That was… intense. Too intense? Maybe, but also kind of badass. I laughed. Actually, laughed. Come on, let's get out of here. We walked through the festival, past the food trucks and craft vendors and confused tourists who had no idea what they'd just witnessed. Behind us, I could hear chaos, shouting, arguing, the sound of someone's world ending. My phone was blowing up. Texts, calls, social media notifications. The video was already going viral. Millbrook Meltdown was trending, but I didn't care. I was done. Done with revenge, done with anger, done with the whole toxic mess. Or so I thought. At the parking lot, Sierra was waiting by my truck. That was quite a performance, she said. What do you want, Sierra? I want you to know that you're right, about all of it. I did encourage Dani's affairs. I did manipulate the situation, and I did it because Joe Brennan humiliated me, and I wanted him to suffer. Why are you telling me this? Because you won. You destroyed all of us, and I wanted you to know that I respect that. You're a better villain than I ever was. I'm not a villain. Sure you are. You just have better PR. She smiled. But here's the thing, David. You think this is over. You think you've had your revenge and now you can move on. But it's not over. It's never over. Because now everyone in this town knows what you're capable of. And they're going to be watching, waiting, wondering what you'll do next. I'm not doing anything next. I'm just trying to move on. Sure you are. She walked away, stopped, turned back. Oh, and David, that DNA test you mentioned. I'm the one who put the doubt in your head. I'm the one who told Dani you were questioning Kayla's paternity. Just to see what would happen. Just to twist the knife a little deeper. She left before I could respond. Just walked away, leaving me standing there with that final revelation. Kayla tugged my sleeve. Dad? What did she mean? Nothing, Kay. She's just trying to get under my skin one last time. But as we drove home, I couldn't shake Sierra's words. She was right. This wasn't over. The revenge, the drama, the chaos. It had taken on a life of its own. And I'd fed it, nurtured it, made it grow. The question was, could I stop? Or had I become the villain Sierra said I was? At home, I made dinner. Spaghetti, Kayla's favorite. We ate in silence, both of us exhausted from the day's events. Dad? Kayla said finally. Are you going to be okay? Honestly, I don't know, but I'm going to try. I'm proud of you, for standing up for yourself, for not just taking it. Thanks, kiddo. That means a lot. But Dad? Maybe it's time to stop now, before it gets worse. She was right. Of course she was right. The smart thing, the healthy thing, would be to walk away, file the divorce, get custody, move on with my life. But there was still one piece of unfinished business. Monday morning, I went to Hartman and Associates, walked right past the receptionist, past the staring employees, straight to Dani's father's office. Richard Hartman was 72, silver-haired, still sharp as a razor. He'd built the PR firm from nothing, made it into one of the most successful agencies in Ohio, and he'd raised Dani to be just like him, ambitious, ruthless, willing to do whatever it took to win. David, he said, not looking up from his computer. I wondered when you'd show up. You knew, about the affairs, about all of it. I knew Danielle was unhappy. I knew she was making poor choices. But she's my daughter. What was I supposed to do? Tell me, warn me, give me a chance to fix it before it was too late. Would you have? Fixed it? I sat down across from him. I don't know. Maybe not. But I deserved the chance to try. He finally looked at me. You're right. I should have told you. I should have done a lot of things differently. But I didn't. And now here we are. Here we are. What do you want, David? An apology? Because I'm not going to give you one. I don't apologize for protecting my daughter. I don't want an apology. I want you to know that Kayla's not going to grow up like Dani. I'm going to make sure of that. She's going to know that actions have consequences, that you can't just hurt people and expect them to forgive you because you're family or because you're successful or because everyone else is willing to look the other way. Richard nodded slowly. Fair enough. And I want you to know that I'm done. With all of it. The revenge, the drama, the public humiliation. I got what I needed. Now I'm moving on. Are you? Moving on? I'm going to try. Good luck with that. He turned back to his computer. Close the door on your way out. I left. Walked out of that office, out of that building, into the bright September sunshine, and for the first time in 6 weeks I felt light, like I'd been carrying something heavy and finally put it down. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. Hello? Mr. Miller? This is Carol Brennan. Joe's wife. Ex-wife, I guess. Hi, Carol. What can I do for you? I just wanted to say thank you. For telling me the truth. For not letting them get away with it. You're welcome. And I wanted you to know, I'm buying Joe out of the dealership, taking full ownership, and I'm renaming it. Carol's Auto Group. Fresh start. That's great, really. I also wanted to ask if you'd be interested in doing some consulting work. Logistics, inventory management, that sort of thing. I know you work for Brennan Wholesale, but I thought maybe you'd be interested in a change. I thought about it. New job, fresh start, a chance to move on from all of this. Yeah, I said. I'd be interested. Great, come by the dealership tomorrow. We'll talk details. She hung up. I stood there in the parking lot, feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. That night, Kayla and I ordered Chinese food and watched a movie. Just a normal night. No drama, no revenge plots. Just a father and daughter trying to figure out how to move forward. Dad, Kayla said during a commercial break, I have a confession. What's that? I recorded your speech at the festival, and I posted it on TikTok. It has like 2 million views. I groaned. Kay. I know. But Dad, the comments are actually really supportive. People are saying you did the right thing, that you stood up for yourself, that more people should be like you. Great, I'm a TikTok hero. Better than being a TikTok villain. She had a point. The divorce papers came through in November. Dani didn't contest anything, custody, assets, nothing. She just signed and sent them back. I heard through the grapevine that she'd moved to Cleveland, taken a job at a different firm. Starting over. Joe's dealership went bankrupt. Carol bought the assets, reopened under her name. Last I heard, Joe was working as a sales manager at a used car lot in Akron. Karma's a bastard. Sierra deleted all her social media, just vanished. Someone told me she'd moved to California, but I didn't care enough to verify. As for me, I took the job at Carol's auto group. Turns out I'm pretty good at running a business. Who knew? Kayla's doing well. She got accepted to Ohio State, wants to study business, says she wants to run her own company someday, do things the right way. And me? I'm okay. Some days are better than others. Some days I'm still angry, but mostly I'm just moving forward. I still box at Tommy's gym, still live in Millbrook, still drive that beat-up F-150 that Dani always hated. But I'm not the same guy I was 6 months ago. That guy was naive, trusting, willing to be walked on because he thought that's what good guys did. This guy? This guy knows better. This guy knows that sometimes you have to fight back, that sometimes being the villain is the only way to survive. And you know what? I'm okay with that, because at the end of the day, I told the truth. I held people accountable. I made sure my daughter knew that actions have consequences. And if that makes me a villain, so be it. At least I'm an honest one.